Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Triangle BNI. My name is Mike Manning, and each week here we give you a wonderful success story in the small business world of BNI. BNI is Business Networking International, the world's largest networking organization. Our little slice of heaven here in the Triangle of North Carolina, if you're not familiar, is the Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill area. Over 30 chapters, 700 members, people who are starting or growing small businesses. Meet each week, pass referrals, help grow each other's business, and we want to bring you those success stories. And this week we have the man himself, Steve Hand, the executive director of Triangle BNI. Steve's been the executive director since August of 2008. Steve, it's glad to have you here today.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So, what we usually talk about here, going through some wonderful success stories for people that are not familiar with how a BNI meeting goes. Each week, there's a 5 or 10 minute speaker, depending on the size of your group, and they are introduced by the member bio sheet. So, we're going to start with that right now.
Okay.
All right.
Haven't done that in a long time.
So
So that's
excellent.
interesting.
All right. So our speaker today, Steve Hand, business name is Triangle BNI. The profession is networking, right?
Networking, yes. Word of mouth referrals.
Word of mouth
That's
referrals.
the way I
Okay.
refer to it. Yep.
Location here in Raleigh.
In Raleigh, I'm responsible for half of the state of North Carolina.
Okay. That's right. We'll get into
Eastern
that.
half.
You go.
Right.
Yep.
Yep. Right.
Years in the business.
2002, I joined as a member.
Okay.
2007, I took over the region.
All right. My second favorite question on this list is previous types of jobs. And feel free to go all the way back to those high school jobs that
I
either
can
did
go
or didn't
even
work out.
even before that. So actually, even before I knew the word entrepreneur, that's what I've done all my life.
Mhm.
So my first business, if you can have it, was at 8 years old. I ran a paper route.
Nice.
Now, in those days, it's not what they do now, but the newspaper company got their stories, put everything together, and they sold the newspapers at 8 cents a piece to kids like me.
Okay.
My job was to deliver them and collect 10 cents a piece at the end of the week. So that was our business model. So I made a 20% out of every paper. Now, yeah, the way our newspaper worked, it was in the afternoon. So I'd get off school at about 2:30, 3 o'clock. About 3:30, the paper would drop at my spot. I
And
had
where
about
was this?
This was in Syracuse, New York.
Okay.
Yeah. So my grandfather was, in fact, the sports editor on that
Oh,
newspaper, which
nice.
is kind of how it got made sense for me to be in there. But the that would come out in the afternoon, and sometimes I'd get there and the paper was already there. Other times I'd wait a few minutes and they'd show up. But I had about 4 streets I covered, and that was pretty much it. So um, on Sunday, it was a 35-cent paper,
Oh,
of which I made 7 cents each one.
it's
So
you.
that's right. So exactly. So now the thing about the Sunday paper, it came out at 3:30 in the morning. So, 3:30 in the afternoon all week, and then 3:30 in the morning, that came out. And so that was my responsibility to deliver them. I liked it. I had no problem. It's what you do. So I got up in the morning and did it. No
Yeah.
problem. Now you think about this, it wouldn't happen today, but I'm the newspaper and I sold you those newspapers, if you're sleeping in on Sunday morning, you're going to hear about it. Right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So the clients are upset. Everybody's upset. It's a scramble. Didn't bother me, but my guy 2 streets over hated Sunday mornings. So we sat down and figured it out. I said, it makes sense. How about if I just take over the Sunday papers?
Okay.
You do all the weekday papers.
Hmm.
So now I go, it's like 32 and 38 or whatever the numbers, but
Yeah.
50 and 50 is just easier for the math.
Mhm.
So if I'm delivering 50 papers now I would deliver 100 on Sunday. You deliver 100 every day of the week.
Good
You
deal.
collect all the money.
Yeah.
You keep all the tips, right? But
Okay.
on Friday, before Friday, you got to pay me for the Sunday papers I delivered on Sunday.
Yes.
Otherwise, you got to get up and take those
Yeah.
phone calls.
How much would you make a week?
About $70, $70 a week.
Wow.
Yeah, so about $70
Oh,
a
you
week.
were the richest man in town at
Well,
8 years
I
old, weren't
was,
you?
and other kids hated that. So, but you made 140,
Yeah.
right? So that's okay.
Yeah.
You made twice as much,
Oh, yeah.
but you did 6 days a week. I just did 1 day.
Yeah. That's worth getting up at 3:30 in the
To
morning
me,
to
it
do 1
was.
day
I
a
would
week,
anyway,
yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
then as things went by, I started taking the next route and the next route. At one point, I had like 6 or 7 routes.
Okay.
I couldn't do all that myself.
Yeah.
So I had to hire my friends. The way I paid them is I bought them breakfast.
Really?
So here I was probably about 11 at that age. I'm going into Howard Johnson with all my friends. My mother taught me how to do the tips and all that kind of stuff, and just bought breakfast for everybody.
That just sounds like an Andy Griffith episode where Opie learns to be an entrepreneur and has all his friends.
It's just how it went.
That's hilarious. Okay. I like that. That's why it's one of my favorite questions. So next part of the introduction is family information, your spouse.
Yes, my spouse, Shirley,
Okay.
she taught at the Governor Moorhead School for the Blind.
Mhm.
In fact, she taught blind kids all her life. That was what she did.
Oh.
Our honeymoon was at a camp for the blind. So that was kind of what she did all the time.
Yeah.
So, and she did that for years and years and years. And in 2015, she retired.
Very
Now
nice.
she's just got one blind guy to take care of, which
Yeah.
is me. That's right. I drive her crazy no matter what. So.
And children?
Two kids. Daughter Leora. She was in New Orleans for quite a while. She's now in Philly. Just moved up there maybe this month. So yesterday the Saints and the Eagles were playing. I think she was pretty happy with the outcome.
Yep.
And then my son Jeffrey went to Cape Fear in Wilmington, film and videography, and he lives in Raleigh.
Nice. So which of the kids are more like you, and which one of them is more like
they're
Shirley?
more like their mom. Both of them.
Is everybody happy with that?
Yeah, oh yeah, everybody's happy.
And I know you have a couple cats in the house.
We do. We have two cats, Will and Grace, and they're just kind of drive each other crazy.
Yeah.
So what the situation for my wife was, she wanted to get a pet, and I said, okay. So I don't want a pet. She wanted a pet, so we compromised and got two. That worked out really well, right? So
you're shrewd.
Two cats. I'm a good negotiator. No,
you're a
question
better
about
newspaper
it.
negotiator.
Yes, exactly. But they're good cats. They're siblings or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Hobbies and activities of interest.
Well, I play a lot of poker.
Mm-hmm.
I used to golf. We were talking a little bit before the show on that, but I haven't touched a golf club in probably 7 or 8 years. Yeah. And I'm not sure which end to hold anymore at this point. But I do play poker because I can do that pretty quickly and enjoy it. And so at least once a month we get together and play. We play one round of Hold'em, but it's primarily high-low poker.
Yeah.
Pretty good stakes. I enjoy it. So,
okay. And city of residence?
I'm in Cary,
North
North
Carolina.
Long? Since 1988.
All right. Your burning desire is to?
What I would like to do is drive passive income above active expenses.
Okay, please explain for everybody.
Well, passive income is income. Most people are familiar with passive income. Your bank sends you a statement. Oh, you made 12 cents interest this month. Mm-hmm. What did you have to work for that? Nothing. So that's passive income.
Yep.
But passive income is also from rental properties, from businesses and things like that, where I don't have to turn to wrenches to get paid. So active expenses is pretty obvious. You got to pay your bills.
Okay. So, the key to your success?
Boy, just do what you say and say what you do. I think that's probably the main thing. So, a lot of persistence. That's my superpower is persistence. I may do it wrong over and over again, but I'll do it 100 times till I finally figure it out.
The best question on this, and the newspaper story would have been a real good one, but I know you have another, something no one knows about you.
Okay, when I come to a chapter, I give them a list of 10 and let them pick that out. So I was sort of thinking about what am I going to do for my next piece. And I remembered when I was a kid in 2nd grade, I did a magic show. And my sister was my beautiful assistant, my lovely assistant, and pulled a rabbit out of the hat. It was a little stuffed rabbit and things like that. So did a little talent show. I did a little singing and dancing, but that was way back when. So there's no videotape of that at the moment, which I'm happy about. So.
Okay, and there was a story, and forgive me if I have some of the details wrong, about I think you were in college. Or right after college, the business model of how to meet women.
Yes.
Okay. We need to hear that story.
Sure. Yeah. So you can see I have a face for radio, right? So it's a little hard to date in the early 20s, like 21, 22. So a friend of mine and I started a radio and television advertising company, and it was back in the Monty Python days. So we did a few videos for restaurants, like the Monty Python style, right? Yep. We did radio jingles. You can still hear corny type of jingles like that, but the big reason we started that business was to meet women. So we did a lot of casting parties. So if we sold 10 advertising, we at least had 50 casting parties. And that's how we met my wife. So that was the process. So it worked well.
That's what makes this country great. The right idea at the right time, Look out. Too good. So Steve is a member of RD27, Bull City Business Leaders. They meet on Thursdays at 11:30 in the morning at Cafe Parizade in Durham. 42 members. I've referred to your chapter in previous episodes as the Manchester United and New York Yankees of
there you go. That's right.
chapters. But when people go visit your chapter, it really is different from the other chapters they visited. Why is that? And is that's obviously what works best for your chapter, right?
Yes, absolutely. Well, the size is one thing.
Yeah.
So you said 45 members. That's about every week. We have about 15 visitors a week. So it's about 60 people. And yet we run the meeting effectively to get through 90 minutes or less every single week.
Yeah.
The chapter last week did over $130,000. Usually we average 25 to 50,000 amongst the members, but it really is coming up even farther. So in a BNI chapter, it's only one person per profession.
Yep.
So it's like having the best shortstop, the best third baseman. You want to know what they're doing. That chapter has superstars up and down.
So your interview process for new members is quite intense.
Yes, it is. It is. So I always kind of joke, it's almost like seeing the Pope smoke come up when they finally make a decision. It is a little bit rigorous for you if
Yeah.
you come to apply.
Yep.
But we would want to know, can we help you? And more importantly, can you help our clients?
Yes.
You've had Michelle catch them on the chat.
Mhm.
So 0 properties to over 1,500 properties
Yeah.
in 4 years. We're giving her a ton of business and she's earning it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But if you don't have the bandwidth, it's going to be a problem. Somebody's going to have to make a change along. So, so that's, and
Yeah.
it doesn't matter small, big. One of my handyman in that chapter, he started out in just a 10 by 15 shed by himself. 2 years later, he's got 5 people working for him. He's 2,000
Mhm.
square feet. So we're there to, you're there as a member. I'm there to take care of your clients, your customers. If I can take care of your customers, you'll find more and more of them and do what you do best.
And one of the reasons why these successful chapters are successful is they pretty much hold each other
Oh,
accountable,
yes. Oh, yes.
and you have to,
Yes.
especially well, not only be successful, but to have a group of this size.
Yes.
I mean, you don't I don't know how I think a lot of people are competitive.
Yeah.
You don't wanna see your name at the bottom of that
No,
list
that's
because that's a
right.
long way
That's
down, isn't
right.
it?
And it's published on a regular basis. It's all visible.
Yep.
So how are you doing, where you are, in the green, yellow, and red traffic lights. It's always published so you can see it.
So
So,
we're here late October 2018.
yeah, these are
So give
falling.
us the status of Triangle BNI, where they are today, how things are looking.
Okay, well, I took over the region in 2007, and, in 2007, I set my org chart to support, I think it was, 400 members. I didn't think I'd hit that for quite a while, but we're close to 700 right now, so redoing the org chart. Doubled it in 2012 and doubled it again in 2017. So we're definitely moving along very, very well. Part of that is starting new chapters. Part of it is helping existing chapters get stronger and more robust. So
And with the growth of BNI in this area and the word of mouth, you and Mary have been starting a bunch of new chapters. You've been
yes,
getting plenty of calls
yes,
because if you're a realtor, and again, folks, in BNI, it's seat specific, and the hottest seats are the realtor, the mortgage person, the PNC insurance person, and the financial person.
hmm
So if you're one of those four and you're not in a chapter, odds are good you're going to have to start your own chapter, aren't you?
yes, exactly. Now there's some variations on there. You got commercial insurance, health insurance,
Mm.
life insurance, and there's regular mortgage and reverse mortgage. You can possibly fit that way. They're different
Okay.
enough. Commercial real estate, property management, residential realtor. But by and large, that's what you've got. I call that the firm.
Yeah.
So financial, insurance, realtor, and mortgage. And then the chapter might start with an accountant, which would be an A firm, or a banker, which would be a B firm, chiropractor. So it goes from there. In 2013, from 2007 to 2013, I really focused on helping the existing chapters get consistent. It was a lot of things that need to be worked, get the infrastructure in place. 2013, I went to Augusta from a friend of mine, spent the weekend, learned she started chapters and started more chapters than anybody else in the United States before the year was. And I
Very
didn't know
nice.
that. I was just busy just cranking it out, right?
Yeah.
But I saw the model, I saw how it worked. So what I thought is it's about a 17-week cycle to start a chapter. So I could break 2014 into 3 waves. I called them waves, right?
Mhm.
2 a day, Monday through Friday, which would be morning and lunchtime. So I could conceivably have started 30 chapters a year. That's what I carved out. So you're the one of those 4 people. I can start you in April at this particular time slot. Oh, that slot's taken. I can start you in. That was the process, right? And we started quite a few. Not all of them finished, but most of them finished. So I think it was 8 chapters or 9 chapters we finished by the end of the year that we had at the time. So
And when somebody does approach you on wanting to start their own chapter, there's some things you ask of them to bring to the
oh
table to
yes,
help get it started, isn't it?
yes, yeah. We need people that are really driven. Why are they passionate about their business? Where do they see it in 5 years from now? Do you think personal development is going to be important? It is important. And do you like working with other people? So we really
Mhm.
can't have lone wolves in there because it's a team sport.
And they a lot of times from what I've learned is they'll have 1 or 2 people that they either know or have referred to that wanna help start one as well.
Yes.
So, if somebody comes to you with 4 people that wanna do it, that puts them ahead of the curve, doesn't it?
Yes, exactly. So, and because if I'm the realtor, I need a mortgage person. You're the mortgage
Oh, yeah.
person. You're going to be referring to the insurance agent, to the security people. I mean, it just kind of flows. Closing attorney. So, you're the realtor, you don't have to do it all, but you have to have a team of people that are willing to work with you.
And do most of these chapters start with is it the realtor approaching you
It's
usually?
usually the realtor or the financial planner. Typically,
Okay.
they're the most motivated. They need to keep their pipeline full.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's people are on the fence forever until it becomes an opportunity. And the financial planner, it's that trust is so important. So you need a team
Mm.
aspect for that too.
Have you found day of the week more successful than the other?
No, no, it doesn't. It's really because there's no day, there's no time that's right for everyone.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just pick a day, pick a time, and go for it.
Yeah, and I
That's
know
the
as
key.
a tradesperson, my chapter starts at 7:30, I'm done by 9, I still have my whole day ahead of me, so that helps me because it's
Yes,
tough to stop for lunchtime.
that's right.
"Sir, I'll be back in 2 hours."
Yeah,
But
exactly. That's
the
right.
paint will dry by the time I get back.
Yeah, that's
So
right. You get a phone call as you're trying to walk out the door. It's customer service.
yeah.
You got to
Oh,
take
yeah.
that call.
Yeah.
So yeah. So most of the world starts BNI chapters at 7 o'clock in the morning, which I loved. I said
Oh, I'm a
three
morning
o'clock in the
person.
morning.
Yeah, you're a newspaper
Didn't
guy.
bother me, but everybody's got mom's got to drop kids at school and all that kind
Yes.
of stuff, and I understand. So we had the flexibility before I took over the region to move different times. I don't have any 7 o'clock chapters anymore. 7:30 is the earliest. Your
Yeah.
chapter is the earliest,
Love
right?
it.
So
Yeah.
some chapters start at 9 o'clock, if you can believe. It. To me, that
Yeah.
is it cuts the whole day out. But again, it's a day of marketing. It's a morning of marketing. So if I'm a 9 o'clock chapter, I can do a meeting before with one-on-one. I can do some time afterwards, and I know I'm back in the field in the afternoon. So
And that's one of the things with any small business is you have the list of, okay, here's the current clients I have, here's where I want to get. And they a lot of small business owners, you're just so busy working your business that you don't put together that marketing plan where you say,
right.
so every Tuesday, I've got 2 meetings, then
Yes.
my meeting, a
Yes.
couple calls afterwards, and you get all that done by lunch. You feel like you've done something.
And you have. So
Yeah.
that's why I loved about 7 o'clock. I could meet at 7 o'clock with my BNI chapter.
Yeah.
And the only reason they were in the chapter was to sell my services. Now you have your own agenda. I get
Mhm.
it. My job is to teach you and motivate you to sell my services. Some people are more receptive, some are less. That's my problem. That's not your problem, right?
Mhm.
And so by 8:30, the meeting is done. By 9 o'clock, I could see a customer in Cary. By 9:30 in
Yeah.
Raleigh, and by 10 o'clock in Durham. I had the whole day
Yeah.
to sell, if you want to go with that terminology.
Yeah, because
So I
we
loved it.
and as a solopreneur, either you forget or if you're just on that cusp of being too busy, "Well, I don't have time to do that."
Mm-mm.
And then you stop and think, and all right, so say that
Yep.
out loud twice so you can hear yourself
Exactly.
say that.
Exact So I knew in my case it was a 6-week cycle.
Yes.
So if I took 2 weeks off, in a month from now, I'm gonna feel it.
Oh,
And then I've got nothing in the pipeline. I gotta crank it back up.
yeah,
So by doing something every week, every day, every whatever, every cycle, whatever it was,
yeah.
it's much more effective.
One of the things that, still amazes me when somebody leaves BNI and the answer they give is, I'm just too busy to
Right.
come to this meeting," and usually the first follow-up should be, "So before you joined BNI, how busy were you?"
Right.
And they usually go, BNI's been wonderful. It's grown my business to this, but
Right.
I'm too busy now." No, that's wrong.
That's exactly not right. And so here's what you're gonna find is 2 years from now, whatever your
Mhm.
cycle is,
Yep.
they're calling me up.
Yep.
They did get back into a chat.
Yeah.
And yeah, it really, I think if you're the pest control guy, right, and you're in
Mhm.
our chapter and you're doing well and you're getting busy and it's that situation, I I look at a couple ways. One is we helped you get busy.
Yes.
Now's the time to send business back to people that
Mhm.
helped you out, right?
Yeah.
But it's not in your makeup. I understand, no problem. That's not who you are. That's fine. Let's go find a pest control to replace you as soon as possible too.
Yeah.
Because our clients need somebody that's not too busy, that's available,
Yep.
that can handle 10 new clients. They can have a crews working with them. So
Yeah, and I've told people before when they've approached me with that, is hire somebody or just hire somebody to answer your phone in the
yes,
office just so you can go to your meeting,
yes,
carve out a couple hours, but don't leave
right.
because you're gonna come back. They're
Yes.
just gonna
Yeah.
so
And it's much more difficult.
oh,
When
very
you come
much
back to
so.
second time, it's much more
Yeah,
difficult, right? So
especially if you're in one of those key
if you're in a
4
strong
seats.
chapter,
Yeah.
that's right.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully they've moved on. Not
Yeah.
anything wrong. I mean, it's just,
Mhm.
my clients need to be taken care of. And you've got to reestablish the relationship. Is he really going to stay this time?
Yeah.
It's a little bit harder.
So what's the key to a chapter forming in moving into the full chapter status?
Right.
What have you seen over the years, the common denominators?
The big thing is enough people that are serious about it and are motivated to do it. One of the big ingredients is communication. We need to talk to each other. So communication is really big. I spend a lot of time teaching people communication and reliability. Those two are kind of missing ingredients in this society. So I spend some time on that. Communication, give you an example. Let's say you are the painter in the chapter and I'm a handyman. And Amnon calls me up and I'm going to come and I'm going to hang a door in his house.
Mhm.
And obviously when I finish it, I got to paint it. Well, as a courtesy to you, I'm going to call you up and say, Mike, I got a job. It's about $120, of which 25 of that is painting. Do you want to come and paint this house? 2 coats, you're going to come back twice for $25. You're probably going to say, no,
Yeah.
not really. Thank you very much.
No.
But I've extended the offer, right?
Yes.
The other side, if I don't communicate to you, You're going to drive by and see that guy's been painting that house. That's my job.
Mm.
And if we don't talk, you're just going to be mad and we don't communicate. So there's so many levels we need to communicate. I had a realtor from one of my chapters in downtown Raleigh. She was found by somebody in San Diego who knew what BNI was, found her, called her up. They met someplace public so they could see it wasn't some crazy deal going on and everything was fine. And make a long story short, within a month, they had done 6 transactions, 6 real estate transactions. And so the home inspector sent up really happy. The closing attorney sent up real happy. New mortgage guy wasn't happy because he wasn't part of these things and he wasn't communicating, right?
Yeah.
They were all cash. We don't need a mortgage at that point. So, but communication is the key.
Yeah.
That's the key. You need to communicate. So perfectly valid for you to have a concern about me painting, but we need to talk.
Yeah. On the why.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So when was the first time, literally the first time you were introduced to BNI?
Well, I told you I used to play poker, right?
Yeah.
So, and golf. And so one of the guys that I golf with, he's still in town in Cary. I think he's pretty close to retiring, but forensic psychologist. And he was in BNI. And he was one of my first clients in the business that I started once I got down here to Cary a little bit. And so at that point, he said, come on to the BNI. Now they don't know really what you're all about, but come on, I'll introduce you. And I hit the ground. I said, this is great. My thing was, how many of these can I join? I'll be in one every single week because that's what I want to do. You can only join one.
Worldwide.
What are you kidding me? You can only join one? But now I understand it.
Yes.
That's you really want to join one and work it. But that was the process. So I jumped on board at that point. Many weeks I was number 1 in the country. And the secret weapon for me was BNI.
Yeah.
That's
And
all
this
it
was when you're doing Legal Shield?
Prepaid legal.
Okay. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's now Legal Shield.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
And so that came to the point, once I took over the region in 2007, I had to decide. My philosophy is I could probably do both full time. How hard could that be, right? I'll do both full time. So, but after 2 years, I had maybe I had more hair before that, but I had no hair by the end of that time. It was not possible to do both. So I really had to make my commitment. So I committed to BNI. I said, I'm going to cut it down no more than 10 hours a month on my Legal Shield business. The rest all go to BNI. Now, it took me 6 months to get it down to that level, but now I do very little.
Yeah.
And many months I don't do anything, but I still get a paycheck all the time, which is great. So it's a
yeah.
really good, so that's that passive
There
income,
you
which I
go.
really like. Exactly. So
Was that the only chapter you visited?
he was the only one I knew existed.
Okay.
That's a good point. Yeah. It was
Right.
a little 12 people chapter, which I had no idea that could be bigger, but I thought, this is great. And so that was it. I jumped in and got it rolling pretty well.
Okay.
So,
Where did that group meet?
I met at a restaurant in Cary, which is no longer there. In fact, the situation was, if you're going to be listing your home, you want everybody to know about it so they come and buy it, right? If you're listing your business, you don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so we went there to a meeting like it was, and the door was locked. So surprise, but it's not even a restaurant anymore. A good space. So that was where that was at called Gregory's at the time. So,
Okay. All right.
in Waverly
And-
Place.
So, and I always like to ask people, walking in your expectations and then walking out of that first meeting, all the things you'd written down and the plans in your head
Oh,
of like,
yeah.
oh, look at this. So
My head was spinning.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, I could see a lot of possibilities. Again, it's like the new first fax machine. You can get excited about it because you're a tech guy, but nobody else does, right?
Yeah.
So I've got to really, and these people were there to listen every week, to get educated, motivated. And my role was to teach them to be excited about what I did. And they became my mouthpiece out there. So you think about my chapter with 45 people, I've got 45 people telling my story every single week.
Mhm.
Now, some 10 times a day, others 2 times a month. Everybody's different,
Yeah.
but that's the process. And so I looked for how can I make that happen? How can I make it easy for you to find my story? I got a guy that does asbestos remediation, right? So asbestos remediation took us a little time to figure out the right phrase. But all we did was just we looked up the ceiling. Oh, you got popcorn ceilings.
Yes.
Do you love it?
Yeah.
If they love it, you do too.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk them out of it,
Yeah.
right? Oh, we got to take that stuff down. But if they don't like it, now we can start down that path.
Mhm.
That added about $750,000 to his bottom line.
I believe that was
In
another
1
guest
year.
on our show,
Very
Brian.
good, Brian.
King.
Exactly.
Yeah, with the Remtech. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And the nice thing is, anybody can ask that question.
Yeah.
I'm in there for pest control. I'm in there for
Mhm.
daycare. Taking care of the
Yep.
tutor. Anybody can ask that question.
And to tell you how what an indelible mark that made with Brian, he told that same story when he's here because it
Love
worked.
it.
Yeah, because
Yes.
you got to sit down and figure out
Yes.
because you got to train. I have to
Yes.
train you on what pest control and what I'm looking for. And
we're
it's the
not
same thing with anything. Yeah.
I'm not excited about that, right? I'm
No,
not
you
excited. You're
no, you
excited
don't
about
wanna
it.
crawl under
I
a
don't wanna know
house.
about chemistry. I don't know about critters. I don't want but you can say, "Oh, I see that,"
Yeah.
and now I can have that conversation. When you find that one phrase, it makes all the difference.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're that hour and a half, it's a meeting,
Yes.
but it's an I mean, you're there to teach a
Yes.
lot to everybody
Teach and
because
motivate.
right.
Yep.
Because when you do join a BNI chapter, basically you inherit 20 to 30 to 40 salespeople.
Yes.
And if you're a solopreneur like a lot of us, hey, you just inherited 20 to 30 salespeople that you don't have to put on your payroll
That's
and all
right.
that stuff. So
No W-2s, no
exactly.
taxes at the end. That's right, exactly.
So if
So,
you wanna know more about Triangle BNI, we've got the number on the screen here. Oops, sorry, I'm on
there it is.
919-465-1667. Call and talk to
Great.
Steve or Mary or Brenda. They can give you some information on where chapters are meeting. You can go to Triangle BNI, look up a chapter, or you can send us an email at bni@nissancommunications.com, and we'll
Great.
get back with you, give you some information. We'd love for you to come out and visit a chapter. If you or someone you know is starting a company, starting a business, trying to grow a business, this is a place to do it each week. We give you wonderful success stories and no better than Steve because he took over the place. And look what he's
Well,
done
this
with
little
that. So
slice of heaven, like you
yeah,
say. I
it
like that
is.
phrase.
It
That's
is.
right.
You are also a published author.
Yes, I am, and I should have thought to bring a book so I could hold it up, but it's, Building the Ultimate Network is the book, and it was about 30 authors that we put together. I have one chapter in there, but I think it's a really, really good chapter, obviously. I like it a lot, and, made the Amazon bestseller list right away.
There's some words people hear in the business world that just frightens them to death. And networking is another one because
Right.
they feel like some people, I'm assuming, are gonna say, "Oh, it's a chamber event, a whatever event. There's gonna be 300 people there. I don't know anybody. I
Right.
don't wanna go in." And that's not the case.
It's not the
Networking
case.
can be you and I going to breakfast to do a
Yes.
one-to-one and sit
Yes.
down, pass the list together. Here are the
Exactly.
5 I'm looking for.
Yes.
So there's many different ways to network, isn't there?
Yeah, the simplest analogy I like to use is, let's say we're in line for something. It can be to a restaurant, it can be to a hotel, it can be to a state fair ride, it doesn't matter, right? And person 1 finds something out, and they tell person 2. That's a network. That's a network. Communication is the key. 2 tells 3, 3 tells 4. They're all really, if I'm number 3 and I'm telling you, there's nothing much in for me. I'm just helping you out,
Mhm.
right? So that's another aspect of it. Now, if person number 7 doesn't tell anybody, all the people behind him in line are out of the loop.
Yeah.
So every phase of it needs to work. So networking is really pretty simple when you come down to it, but it's intentional. You want to be working it
Yes.
intentionally.
Yeah.
So,
And it always helps if there's a networking event, go with somebody. So
yes.
at least you know somebody there.
Absolutely, and I like to introduce you to people, and you can introduce me to people.
Mhm.
That's really
Yep.
much more effective. Exactly. So, yeah, and we teach all of those different aspects of how to be effective in the net. What you learn in BNI, you can use in your chamber of commerce, you can use in your alumni associations, all those things just as well.
And there are different organizations. You speak to a number of
Mhm.
groups, mainly BNI, obviously, but you talk in different groups to join. There's
Mhm.
the chamber type,
Yes.
your Rotary clubs, and
Yes.
all kinds of different ways to get
Score.
involved
There's
in
plenty
there.
of things.
Mhm.
Exactly. That's right. So this week on Thursday, I'll be speaking up at Roseville. I've got a score event coming up. So there's a number of things out there. As you can talk to Wake Forest Chambers, got me
Yeah.
speaking at the end of November. So there's a number of things. It's really about connecting you to the people that you need to meet, ideally the people that will help my customers
Mhm.
or help me find customers early in the cycle before they even know I exist
Right.
or a need for my services.
Yeah, and the networking part of it even can be a group you're already
Of
in.
course.
You're just now listening different and
Yes.
asking questions. And
Yes.
I just one of the easy stories I tell people is you've got a next door neighbor, he's been screaming about his lawn. Well, I don't know any lawn care people. You join BNI. Now when your
Now
neighbor
you know
screams
them.
about it,
Yes.
call Steve. He'll
Yep.
take great care because now you're listening different. And that's one of the beauties of BNI, just teaches you to listen.
Exactly. When somebody comes to work at my house, I tell all my neighbors around, I've got this guy coming out. He's going to be doing some work.
Oh,
If you want some tree service, come by. You can certainly watch how he is. Say he's not for me. That's fine.
yeah.
But if you can opt in very easy. So
Okay.
I do that all the
Don't
time.
want to see a tree fall on your house. You'll
I
be
don't
good to
want a
go,
tree
right?
falling on my house. Exactly. I did have one of my trees fell on a friend's car, unfortunately. So during Hurricane Matthew. But,
Oh, really?
yeah,
Ooh,
that's pretty scary. So
okay.
yeah, but
Everybody all right
no,
though?
yeah, except for the car.
Okay.
And I
There
saw
you
him Saturday. He said we did pretty well. So that's good. So it all works out.
So also in the BNI model, not only are the chapters meet each week, but you also have consulting directors,
Mhm.
which I'm part of and glad to
Yes.
be that. And I enjoy it a lot. I get to meet new people. I get to help and it's a wonderful thing, but you need that structure and layers to help because you can't get to,
Right.
you do get to every chapter, but you certainly can't get to them every week.
Yeah, when I started, I could visit every chapter once a month, and that's what I did. I got to know the members as
Okay.
well. But now, especially on Thursday morning, there's more chapters than I can
There are.
see in 6 months. So at this point, I really it's gone to once every twice a year is the most I can be there.
And
Now, I
so
do go more if I can,
yep,
but somebody like you, a consulting director, is there every single month.
yep.
So you've done sometimes more than that. You're working on things with them. So,
So how has your role changed? Talking more about that, how has your role changed not only back to since 2008 when you first started
mhm,
it, but just let's go back to the beginning of 2017.
sure, sure.
How has your role changed as executive director?
Well, we're growing pretty rapidly, so it's more of a find the people, train the people, get them plugged in, get them started, hold them accountable, right?
Mhm.
Build the systems in case to make it happen. So, and it's been very successful. So, I've seen people go from very shy to very
Mhm.
outgoing, and the personal development skills, the leadership skills have really come along well. Andy, you talked to Andy,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
in Andy's case, I mean, he's got something that's just coming up. I won't I'm not gonna talk about it because it's really worldwide, very, very big. But a lot of he says, I really learned to be more of an ambassador with my clients, to really communicate properly with them because they're making big decisions, and he was able to navigate that through being a leader in his chapter, which when you're a lone wolf, you don't get that.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know, I talk to the cats, they don't talk back much, so I need that feedback from people as well, so.
And one of the things we try to talk about each week, with the different guests, not only their success in BNI, the success their business has had through BNI, themselves as in a leadership role in BNI,
Mhm.
but also the involvement in the community with the
Yes,
nonprofits, everything, what these people give back to the community, which tells you a lot about who you're gonna be hanging out with each week when you join a BNI
that's right,
chapter.
that's right. Yeah, you know most people just get in the car, go to the job, go to the same coffee shop, come
Mhm.
back home. They know the people in the office. The people that are in BNI are the movers and shakers. They're
Mhm.
out in the world quite a bit. They're the smaller population, but much more impact of a population. You talked about nonprofits. One of our members, Dawn Ireland, is in Wake Forest, and she has the largest congenital diaphragmatic hernia charity in the world. So they've had, you know, CNN Tower, her colors, the Seattle Tower, her colors, uh, Tower of London, her colors. So she's worldwide is really getting things done. And it's a birth defect not many people know much about,
Yeah.
but that's part of the communication side. So people are giving back to the community all the time in very, very big ways.
And at the end of each BNI meeting, go around the room, do our referrals and testimonials, and thank people for the referrals they sent you. And then usually right at the end of that, before we disperse and go out and make some money, we talk about any announcements for the group. And
Yes.
on a regular basis, there's somebody standing up. I know our chapter, Tom Ascona with affordable promotions,
Yes.
put on a golf tournament.
Hmm.
But he started that. I know you're involved in that as well.
Yes.
But each
Yeah.
week, somebody stand up saying, "Hey, there's a charity I'm involved with. We're having X, Y, and Z event. Would love for you to come out."
Yes. That's exactly right.
And
That's
it just the well-rounded people. You're not just going to meet business people who are there. Just Steve, you can make me money. Okay, you're welcome into our chapter.
right.
It's well-rounded people that are coming to these BNI chapters and joining.
Yep, exactly. I'll tell you another story about Children's Flight of Hope is right here in this
Mhm.
area. And so Children's Flight of Hope, it's been started many years ago. And what they did there is if you had a child that needed surgery, yes, we can take you to Raleigh. That surgeon does that 5 times a year. But if I can get you to Philadelphia, that surgeon does it 5 times a week, much more effective. So, but not everybody has the wherewithal to make that happen. So they owned their own plane. They had volunteer pilots, and they would arrange that. And they
Wow.
did about 12 to 15 flights a year. A lot of logistics to make that happen. Well, Stacy Barfield came into the picture, and she said, "This is not an effective business model. There's more than 15 people that need to be helped. We got to figure out how to make that happen." So she turned it into a business. They sold the plane. They didn't want volunteer pilots because if you're a volunteer pilot, we can't insure the flight. High
Mhm.
risk, right?
Mhm.
So instead, what she did, she sold the plane. You run SAS, and you got a plane that's sitting there for 300 days a year, not doing anything. We would pay for
Oh,
it. We would borrow it. You get the press. The kid gets to the airport. We insure it properly, right? We equip it properly. We fuel it up properly. Everything's done. I think last year she did over 300 flights.
wow.
So from 15 to 300
Yeah.
just by changing the models. It's not a hobby. It's a business,
Yeah.
and it's the same as a BNI member. It's not a hobby. It's
Right.
a business.
Yeah.
You got to be prepared to drive your business as hard as you possibly.
And so let's talk a couple minutes about engaged members.
Okay.
And that's who's on this show are
Mhm.
the engaged members because they're doing well. I was laughing with Andy and Jed early on. We're starting with the multimillionaires.
There
We'll
you
work our
go.
way down to the,
I'm in a little early
yeah,
then, but that's
we'll,
fine.
we'll work our way down to the hundredaires, but we want
That's
to start with the
right.
multimillionaires. But these guys, it's like with a new client. And yes, you're going to see these people every week. But if you're going to meet a new client, you're going to prepare.
Yes.
And the engaged, successful people in BNI, my meeting's every Thursday morning at 7:30. I don't want to start thinking about it at 7:15 on the drive over. It's a
Mm-mm-mm.
preparation before the week.
Yes.
So what kind of things have you seen that engaged members do and why they're so successful?
Sure. Yeah. So first is understanding your market. And then the big part is what's the reason? Why do they need your services? You love popcorn ceilings. Now you know whether they need your service or not, right? So understanding that. Once we have that, then we can build our campaign. I do the 60-second campaign out of that. I like a 6-week campaign. I found that was the most effective for me. So if let's say truck drivers are a target market for me, the first week I talk generally how I can help truck drivers. Let's just test this out. Do you know a truck driver on a first name basis?
I do not.
Okay. Do you know a truck driver on a first name basis? Okay. Well, you guys would be not my person like that. But can you play along and pretend you do?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I know
So
too,
so
yes.
Jimmy. Okay,
Jimmy.
great. Exactly. So Jimmy. So I do my 60 seconds and you think of Jimmy, right? But odds are pretty good you haven't talked to him in a long time.
Mm.
So most people, what they do is they say, yeah, they don't know truck drivers. I'm going to come up with a teacher. Is Jimmy also a teacher? He's not. He's gone, right? And that's what most of our members make that mistake. But if I come back with another story about truck drivers, you thought of Jimmy again.
Yeah.
And then another story about truck drivers, you think of him again. Now there's a chance you've got 3 stories you can tell Jimmy, which you didn't have before. Now there's a chance you'll actually pick up the phone and call him or send him an email, right? And so that was my process. So the first week was just general truck drivers. Second week was, again, I give you 6 stories about how I can help Jimmy. He's your buddy. How can I help Jimmy, right? And when I got to the 5th week, it's almost like I could take the guitar and play a country song. If you don't touch Jimmy, the dog's going to leave him. The wife's going to be running off. The kids, you got to get you off the fence, right? Well, Jimmy, I don't know. This guy's a little crazy. So, but you'll call him up and make the touch,
Yeah.
right? And then my 6th week was something was kind of close to truck drivers, maybe police officers, right? So I'm going back to the legal shield side. Used to be with a truck driver got pulled over. They'd reach in and say, okay, I don't have any points on my Kentucky license. That's my license. Right? Now it's a network. It's all connected. So they need a network as well. So, but that was my process through that kind of stuff. I just educate you on one target market straight along. So that's what I say. Be prepared. Plan effectively. You know, I talked about the mortgage guy in my chapter. Mortgage were a great referral source for me, but I never clicked with my mortgage guy in my chapter. It doesn't always work, right? But I worked as hard as I could to find, I can find business for every realtor through the mortgage person easily. Just like I said, the popcorn ceiling. I found the phrase that worked and work in a coffee shop and work with everybody. So I sent a ton of business, but he wasn't part of the process. Well, no problem. So he's helping everybody else, but I need to help myself too. So I go to you, you're a mortgage guy. You're on board immediately. So using the system is really what it's all
You addressed what I was going to ask you about next was in your 30 and 60 seconds into a point, your 5 minutes or 10 minutes is how specific can you be? Because I know you've heard, and
about.
Mary tells a story, and I don't know if he's listening or not, but there's a guy that stood up one time. He said, I want to meet anybody that has blood.
Yes.
And you're like, really? Come on. And I know realtors have a tough time. I'm looking to meet anybody that's ready to buy or sell a house. They don't know Jim and Susie moving from Madison, Wisconsin. I get all that, but that's not going to motivate
No.
anybody to go, oh, yeah,
no.
nobody's. And if a friend has mentioned it to you, I didn't even think about it because
Right.
I don't really know a realtor.
And I don't know what to say. I don't know how to say it. I mean, there's all of those elements inside
Yeah.
there. Yeah. So the more specific you can be, the better. I was at a BNI meeting, and the guy who did IT was asked for a friend of mine who I used to know really well. So he asked for him by name. I had a rough idea what this guy did for a living, but it didn't matter in our relationship. The reason I knew him is our daughters played soccer together.
Mhm.
So we would meet at the game watching the soccer. And, you know, our wives became friendly. We became friendly. Every time we had a New Year's party, they always came in a crazy costume. We had a good time, right? And then, you know, I found out he was a New York Mets fan, just like I was. So we would go down. We'd drive to Atlanta. Those are the doubleheader in Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
So we'd, 5 hours down. We'd watch 2 games. We'd watch the doubleheader. We'd drive back the next day. You think I knew him pretty well?
Mm-hmm.
I did know him very well, right?
Yeah.
So, and now here's this guy from out of the blue asking for that person by name. That's a home run. So
Yeah.
if the case was, though, the kids had grown up, I had to rework that relationship. It took me about 3 months to get the relationship going. Next New Year's, he was there, and then after that, I made the
Yeah.
introduction. So
Yeah.
be specific is what it's all about.
Yeah, and even if it's not the name, even
Yes.
again, going back to you, so the
Yes.
truck driver or Jimmy
That's
is
right.
or the company name, but just something to make people go,
Dispatcher, yellow freight, whatever.
exactly.
Yep, that's right.
Because when you're driving down the road, you're not thinking like, "Wow, I'll go buy a business. I wonder if they need cleaning or insurance or
Yes.
whatever." You're like, I'm not gonna cold call for
Right.
you." But if you said, "Hey, I'm looking for any daycares,"
Yes.
and now it's like, "Oh, wait, my next door neighbor's kid goes there." Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
And maybe I don't know how, but now I can start that down
yeah,
that path.
yeah,
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
yeah.
So, one of my friends she did nutritional items, right? Nutritional
Mhm.
products. And so we tried to figure out who would that most help. So we said athletes. Probably athletes care about their health, right? They'd be interested in that. So we broke athletes into 4 markets: preschool, grammar school, preschool, high school, college, pros, right?
Yeah.
So we could get the 2 first markets excited, but then we got to convince the kids to get the parents excited. Not so easy. So we decided we're not going down that path. Yes, she needed 400 clients on a regular basis to get, because her closing ratio was only 10%. You get 40 clients, you need to talk to 400 to get that. So yeah, we could get professionals. There's 400 professionals in this area, right? But they've got moats and Dobermans and, security cameras. You're not getting through to them to talk about nutrition pills, right? But how many universities do you have to go to talk to 400 college athletes?
Not a many. Yeah.
You can go to NC
Yep.
State.
Oh, yeah.
There's more than that right there.
Mhm.
So that became our focus area. And I said I always like to look for the 11 on the dial. So I would want every single athlete to see my shining face.
Yep.
Have you had your pill today? Have you done this today? Right. So, and when they throw me out, no problem. I'll go to Carolina. I'll just dial it back a little bit.
Yeah.
I've got all the collaterals.
And we talk about one of the nice thing, and many people that have been on the show have talked about the process and the structure of BNI,
Mhm.
because the meeting starts at this time. Here's
Yes.
what we do. We do the same thing every week. It's our job to get better at our time when we stand up to talk, be it the
Yes.
30-second or the 5 minutes. So when you find out this is who I'm looking for, that's half the battle.
Mhm.
Then you've got to go to the sphere to find out. And the key, what I've learned through you and some other people, is the thing best to know is not necessarily that person you're looking for, but who talks to them. How do you
Yes.
get to them?
That's exactly right. So, you mentioned real estate has a hard time. I don't think so. How many new clients? Our record is 165 transactions. She's exceptional. Most realtors, if they do 50 in a year, they're doing
Oh,
great,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So how many neighbors do you have to go to find 50 people listing their home?
Mm.
Not many.
No.
All neighbors about the same age, same things going on, same highway coming in behind, same, flight patterns or whatever. So reasons for people to want to move. There's all kinds of things, but reasons to move because of the school systems in place or whatever. So you just find the point of influence inside there.
Yeah.
And who knows who it could be. You got to find somebody who's talking to these people and communicated in a way that makes sense. I love car repair shops.
Oh, yes. You've talked about this.
Yes, they've got, you got to have your cars repaired. It's got to happen. You want to crawl into there and change oil yourself, go for it. But most people don't want to, right? So car repair shops are good. If they got 6 or 8 bays, that's 20 or 30 families coming through every single day.
And I know once people hear this, they don't think much of it till you ask them about it, and then they go, "Oh, that makes perfect sense."
Yeah.
For 2 of the seats in a BNI that hear the best information from people, the hairdresser and the
Yes.
barber.
Yeah, and the bartender, but I don't have
And
too
the
many
bartender, yeah.
bartenders in BNI. So that's right. So
They're not
we got-
awake at 7 in
That's
the
right,
morning.
exactly. So it's not a fit for us. But everybody else, hairstylists, that's right.
But
So,
you're
yeah,
sitting in that chair for minimum 20 minutes to
Yes.
an hour, depending on
Yes.
who you are and how much hair you got.
that's right.
And once you're 3 or 4 months into that relationship, now just sit on, "Hey, how's the family?" Boom.
That's right.
And here's 20 minutes from that and so the hairdressers and the barber, those are the people that hear stuff and know stuff.
Exactly. And they also have a business as well.
Oh, yeah.
Some
Yeah.
people move away, some people stop getting there.
Mhm.
Some people hairs fall out, they don't come. So they needed to keep replacing their pipeline as well.
Yeah.
We can work together very, very well.
And one of the other subsets in a BNI chapter is the power team.
Yes.
So we've
Mhm.
got real estate, B2B, financial services, and personal services.
Yes.
Now, talk a little bit about the value of each of those power teams and why they're so important to the success of a chapter.
Sure. Yeah. Power teams are pretty much based on who your customer is, right? Who your customer is. So if you're in the residential real estate power team, your customer owns a home, buying a home, selling a home, maintaining it. That's the world right there, right? Now, if you're in the real estate, they've got an edge that not everybody else has. If you're in the real estate side, there is one decision maker and only one decision maker. If it's a single person, it's easy. But if it's a couple, it's either the husband or the wife. You just have to put your effort to find out which one it is. Give you a quick guess. Who do you think it is?
Oh, my wife.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
That's right. So it's
Oh,
not, you don't
no,
have to go to school for that. It's
doesn't
pretty
take long.
straightforward,
Yeah.
right? So now it might take us 6 months to find the home we want. And in that whole time, they're not going to embarrass you, but they are going to be working with the wife primarily, right?
Mhm.
So that's just one example. The attributes about that is one decision maker, long selling cycle. I had one of my realtors took people to look at 60 homes before they pulled the trigger.
Hope
Yeah.
they bought a big house.
No, but he's customer service. He's been number one in his office for 25 straight years because it's all about customer service. So if you wanted a realtor that's a mom, I send you to him. If you want a realtor that's a shark, I send you to somebody else, right? So, but it's just different styles. So it's one decision maker, long selling cycle, and it's one and done.
Mhm.
Once they buy that house, they're not buying another one tomorrow. They looked at 60 homes, they bought one. They were in that house 8 years before they bought the second one. So during that long selling cycle, you got to stay in touch with them so that you're part of the next transaction. Who was that nice guy? I don't remember. Let's go get somebody else, right? So you want to stay in touch. So they use everybody else in their chapter to maintain that relationship. You take care of pest control. He's got insurance. They go ahead and help the financial planner. Keeps that relationship intact so they know when the time is right. Or they're getting divorced, they need to sell the big house and buy 2 little ones. I can help them, right?
Yeah.
So they're in that cycle. So that's the residential real estate. Very similar to that is business to business. Business to business, somebody who owns a business, buying a business, running a business, selling a business. There is one decision maker, but it's like, where's Waldo to find who that is? Who's in charge of this particular software solution? Who's in charge of this, right? So they've got to navigate through all the way until they find that decision maker. It's much more effective if you're already dealing with that decision maker and you can say, here's Steve, here's why you need to work. But otherwise, I navigate my way through to find that right spot. But everything else is the same. Once I put that payroll system in, they're not buying another company. I got to keep my pipeline, right? And then everybody else is in the personal services arena, but I put a little split in there intentionally. So personal services, that's where I don't have to call my wife. I'm authorized, right? I'm stopping at McDonald's. Is it okay with? I'm just go do it, right? So I've got the means and the authority to make the decision for myself, right? And then it's usually small, repeatable type of things. You talk about hairstylists. You talked about the dentist, things like that. So personal services. Now, personal services is that, but there's a subset of personal services where I really have to be authorized. I have to sign a contract. So that's where I put the split there into the financial services. Insurance, most of my legal matters fall into that side, banking, things like that. So we have to sign a contract and make that happen. So those are kind of the 4 main power teams. And then we get deeper into that, which is the context spheres. Now, I know most BNI terminology is exactly the reverse, but it's just terminology. Is when I took over the region, the average chapter size was 13 to 14. I had to come up with those 4 splits so they would work in their compartments and still work together. Financial planner sends a lot of business to the real estate across that barrier. And that really ties down to why are they doing it right at this particular time?
Yeah.
Why is somebody changing their popcorn ceiling? New home, existing home, whatever.
And in the power teams, what I like is it's your chance to really be selfish. Like for
Yes.
my business, I really would like this seat filled in our chapter. And
Yes.
usually it's going to help everybody.
Yes, of
especially
course.
on the residential
Of
side.
course.
My group doesn't have a carpet cleaner. So if you're a carpet cleaner out there, RD29, Thursday, 7:30,
Russ Millette, did you hear that?
Hope Community Church. But everybody on the real estate side can use that carpet cleaner.
Right.
And the B2Bs can use them as well
Of
because
course.
businesses need their carpets cleaned too.
Yeah, of course. Saw during our leadership team training we just did, Russ Millette was there. His family-owned carpet business. When they joined BNI, probably 7 years ago, they had 10 clients. Right now, they're in 10 states.
Yeah.
So you can take it where you want. Carpet cleaning is another good example too, because it's really a local service primarily.
Yes.
Chiropractic, auto repair, they're usually local. So I'm not going to drive because some people do. Some people drive 4 hours to their chiropractor, but it's different situation. They're not the common, right?
Yeah.
So in the carpet cleaner business, if you're a carpet cleaner, you do Durham. That's all you do is Durham. You want your crews to know where to get lunch, where to get parts, where to get all this kind of stuff. You want them just in Durham. You get a call from me, I'm your friend, for somebody in Wake Forest. Yeah, you can do it, but it's going to be an upcharge. It takes people out of their marketplace. It makes more sense for me to call the carpet cleaners in Wake Forest and have them do it. And that's what started happening. It was really, now I hold you accountable. You hold me accountable, right? It works out well. You got to take care of my customers as well. But once that started happening, here's what we had. carpet cleaner in Durham gets a client that for years they've been throwing these clients away because they're too big. I can't do a school system. I can't do a hotel. I can't do that. I'm not going to hire the equipment and get all the people for that one job, but I can call my other 4 carpet cleaners in
Mhm.
the area.
Yeah.
We can descend on it and knock it out. So, I've
And
got
it
I've
yeah,
got power washers that can now everybody in the region can do the 7th floor because one guy can.
yeah.
Everybody in the window washers can do screening because one guy can. So,
And with the triangle growing, I think somebody told me the other day they were gonna Sanford was gonna become part of the triangle as they explain what the triangle is. So it's growing,
yes.
and it takes a long time to get from Northern Durham to Zebulon.
Oh, yes.
And so you're like I said, it sometimes it doesn't make sense to go out
It
there
doesn't
for
make sense.
the
Right.
$25 door painting job.
And you're my number 1 referral source.
Yeah,
So I've got to kind of always decide, do this for Mike, but do I want to do it over and over again? It takes me away from my
yeah.
mainstream. Now you got a solution that's already.
And then going back to the communicating, then you and I talk and say,
Yes.
"Okay, I don't do Wake Forest. I'll do it this time because you're a great referral partner,
Right.
but I'm gonna find a guy in Wake Forest so you know that either you can keep calling me or you can call this person now,
Yes.
and everybody wins."
That's right.
And then that guy in Wake Forest is gonna go, "I don't do Durham.
That's
I'm gonna call
right.
Mike." It
Exactly.
comes back,
Of
yeah,
course it does. Of
yeah.
course. Yes.
Because a lot of times, and I have this hang up too, and you and I have had this
Right.
conversation about going to a chapter that has my seat filled of pest control.
Awesome.
Yeah, but and we had this conversation,
I
and it
get
came
it. Yeah.
down to territory. I
Yes.
can live with that because
Yes.
not everybody wants to go everywhere. But
Right.
if we all spray for ants and chase cockroaches and stuff like that, they should give the business to that person in their
And they
chapter.
should.
Right.
And they should.
But I'll drive to Wake Forest. I'll
Yes.
drive to Durham. It doesn't
Yes.
matter to me. I
Exactly.
can do that, whereas
That's
they may
right.
not. So yeah, so
Yes.
there's again going back to the communication of how can I be of some help?
And I'm planning to take a vacation every now and then.
Yes.
My clients still have bugs or 24 hours a day.
Yes.
Can you cover for me for 2 weeks while I'm in Aruba?
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
there's so many opportunities
Yeah.
if you look.
And like you said earlier, sometimes it's the size of the job that if
Yes.
you're a solopreneur, it's like,
Yes.
yeah, I can't handle
I
that.
can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I can't do it effectively.
Right.
And you want to do everything well
Yeah.
as you possibly.
And then you're gold. I mean, you give your competitor a referral.
Yes.
I mean, all of
Exactly.
a sudden it's like,
That's right.
hey, yeah. So now they give you the smaller job, the $25, the door painting job that you
Yes.
talked about earlier.
Exactly.
We're
Yep.
not going to do that.
That's
So,
right. Yeah.
but
So
yeah,
yeah, in many cases, like if you're commercial insurance and I'm personal lines insurance, we can work together very, very well. We're
Oh,
talking about insurance all day long. You're interested in insuring the building, the inventory, the big stuff, right?
yep.
Long selling cycle, big ticket items. Yes, you can insure the cars and the houses, but it changes too often. You don't want to keep up with that. Give that referral to me. Now your client says, Mike's got my back.
Yeah.
He's taking care of me. And I'm not going to do we don't even underwrite the big stuff, right? So
Yep.
it works together with it.
And the other thing about being in a BNI chapter and going to visit other chapters is everybody within an industry has this specific thing they want to focus
Yes.
on. You would think financial planners would want the same thing. Not true
They're
because
all
I met
different.
one a
Yeah.
couple years ago and she said that she wanted to focus on Duke and Carolina grad students
Nice.
that are coming out of the MBA program, the
Yes.
doctoral programs that are probably going to make more than $12 an hour
Yeah.
with what they do and they're going to stay in the area. She wanted to meet them.
Yes.
That's a lot different from because some just want to meet 1,000,000 and up.
That's right.
Some want to do, I know, Alex Starnes does
Mhm.
just, um, I want to say this right, disabled,
Good. Special needs.
special needs
Yes.
folks. Yeah, that's what he wants to help them set up everything like
Exactly.
that. So everybody's different, but until you ask,
Right.
and you keep going back to that, until you ask and have that communication, just don't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
All right.
one of my
Yep.
financial planners takes care of professional athletes. He was an athlete, takes care of
Yeah.
professional athletes. And so his big thing is you suddenly got transferred to Kansas City. You don't know who's good. And he usually deals with the family.
Yep.
The wife needs to find somebody for this. And that's what his process is. He helps connect.
Very nice. All right, we cannot leave this hour without you talking a little bit about your skills as a poker player. You've been playing for a long time. I know
have
you
been.
love it, right? You played all kinds of different groups,
Right.
but again, that's a great way to network, isn't it?
It
Without
is.
networking,
Oh, of course.
because you're sitting around a table for a couple hours,
Yes.
somebody's going to mention something. Oh, my car is killing me.
Right.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. When I was in New Jersey, we used to go to a pizza shop and we would play the pizza owner for pizza. Sometimes we bought the pizza, sometimes we didn't. So we had a good time. But, he just kind of liked having his 14-year-old kids, 13-year-old kids playing poker with him or whatever. So, but it was a good thing. So, but it is a great network. It's a
Yeah.
great way to make things happen. A friend of mine, Sharon Hill, who's in
Mhm.
this area, she's big in Toastmasters. She and I we had met to talk about one-to-one, and then we get out to parking lot and it's raining like crazy. So we're just standing in the lobby waiting for the rain to break a little bit. She's a big poker person. She's called her business called the Wild Woman of Poker. If you dial her phone number, it's a Las Vegas phone number. So she and Elmer go to Vegas all the time to play cards. And so we talked a little bit. We started a business together where if you are a mortgage person and you need a bunch of realtors, you invite all the realtors over, we teach them how to play.
Oh, very good.
And that moves the relationship. So
Very good.
then the realtor come out and bring all the investors along. We teach them how to play. So it's just so much you can do. Just take whatever you love and just make it work for others.
And if you're one of those realtors, you're a poker player, you may not want to go to an event where somebody goes, "Hey, we're looking to me." I don't want to go. Ooh, poker.
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes.
now all of a sudden, and that
That's
kind of
right.
everybody drops their defenses, and you're more open to what's going on. You go,
it's a
you know,
fun
Steve,
time.
heard about you. Yeah, well, I'll call you next week. We'll sit down and talk
Exactly.
about this.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, there's so many things. I saw Alex last night at the Canes game. We just happened to be walking by. He was there. So, but I've got guys that use the Canes season tickets as a way to meet others as well. So I got two guys, a closing attorney and a mortgage guy, that have 2 tickets each. They're not 4 seats together because it might not always be planned. It might be a date or something like that, but they're in the same section.
Yep.
So at the end of the first period, it's a guarantee they're going to go to the bathroom and go get beer. I just happened to meet you there. Oh, Mike,
Wow.
you're here at the game. How do you like that? Have you met my realtor friend?
Yeah.
It's a piece of cake.
Nice.
So.
You mentioned sharing with Toastmasters. I know
Yes.
you've got a connection with Toastmasters as
Yes.
well. Another way to network, isn't it?
It's a great way to network.
Yep.
And it also builds the personal development skills. So public speaking skills, very, very big. So.
And BNI, that's one of the things coming out of BNI that you don't think of, because when you're joining, it's like, I want to build my business and all that, is it helps you with your public speaking. Because
Yes.
each week, at the minimum, you're standing up for 30 seconds talking in front of however many people are in the room.
That's right. 60 people in my chapter on a regular basis. Exactly.
And I don't see the hard part about talking in public. I never understood
Some
that
people
one.
are definitely afraid of it.
I understand other
That's right.
phobias. I don't understand
Exactly.
this one, but some people do.
Right.
But we've had people on the show before. They talk about, I've become a better public speaker because of this. And it gives them the confidence to go out. They speak to bigger groups of clients.
Mm-hmm.
You speak better.
Right.
You speak more goodly.
Yes, more goodly. That's right.
But just those little things, though, that help you grow your
Yes,
business. So when you're pitching to a client, hey,
right.
I know what I'm talking about.
And it's much nicer if I know you're the perfect client for me, but it's too early.
Yep.
But you need what Mike's got. I can plug you in there.
Yep.
And that moves our relationship forward.
Mm.
And Mike is there on a regular basis and say, okay, now's the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It works out much more effectively.
All right. So as we said earlier, we're here in late October. So what's the blueprint?
An hour already. That's amazing.
I know. What does the blueprint look like for December 2019?
December 2019.
Chapters, head counts, all that good stuff. Where would you like to be?
Well, I'm looking to, at this point, we're sort of, Thanksgiving is my big time to lay that stuff out, but I think we will be at close to 45 to 50 chapters at the end of that time. And that includes the southern part of the state together. So that's where we're going. And I really want to get every chapter close to the chapter size of 25.
Okay.
I know I don't jam somebody in, I don't drag somebody along. But in case you and Mary are working pretty close with a couple chapters that we're seeing some good results, some are resistant. We'll make it happen when the time is right.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's one of those things that every time the chapter doubles on its way to 40, the business is almost 10 times as much. It's 9 times as much.
Yeah.
So, instead of doing this and making 30,000, I can do the same amount of effort and make 300,000. I don't know. It catches my attention, but I'm not the same as everybody. So
some easy math. Yeah,
exactly. That's right.
So, Steve, we appreciate having you on the show today. Next week, our guest is Jared Crabtree with Crabtree Family Movers. So please go to Triangle BNI, get some more information on BNI. Come visit a chapter, and we will see you next week with Jared Crabtree of Crabtree Family Movers.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.